Shalom, family. Good to see everyone here. Hope you're doing well. Well, listen, there was a manifesto, and now everything's coming out. He was upset that Donald Trump was a PDF, and, just the kind of person and character Donald Trump is. Sorry about that. Loretta actually popped over the second I started my live. And he brings out a lot of things in his manifesto. Now, I did find out he is biracial. He has one white parent, one black parent. So, I mean, you can look at him and tell. And then I came across a picture of him, looked like he was graduating from college. And I saw him and his siblings, and they're all biracial, all of them. So, now he talks about this. It was posted. Now, from what I understand, he gave this manifesto to his family just 10 minutes before he carried everything out. He said he did not expect to be forgiven. In fact, he didn't even expect to survive from what he was about to do. He didn't even think he was going to live. So I tell you what, it has been interesting. A little later on, I have another live where we'll be talking about there's a lot of people that feel this whole thing was staged because they're saying that every time there's an attempt on Donald Trump, the outcome is they're all similar, where they're claiming to try to get Trump and they always seem to miss. And in fact, they were, a lot of people were comparing the last attempt on Donald Trump to this and, the similarities and why a lot of people feel this is all fake and it's not real, it's staged. And because of what Caroline Levitt said about shots fired and her husband's reaction, a lot of people feel it was staged. Another one that looked very calm, because I had to go back and review the video again. Donald Trump didn't even react when the shots were fired. He was just sitting there, just as calm as can be. And another one that was in the crowd, when people heard the shots and they were reacting, Kash Patel was just kind of sitting there, just staring at everybody else. He didn't even move from his place or try to get down on the floor or nothing. He just kind of sat and just looked around at the people all around him and he didn't even react. Their reactions were just kind of off. It did not fit the environment they were in, where there was a potential danger. And some of his administration were acting like there was no danger. And I even questioned JD Vance. You heard the shots. Don't you think if you would have heard those shots, you would have got up on your own and exit the stage? He just kind of sat there until Secret Service ran and tore him out the seat. To me, that's not a normal reaction. Your reaction is, let me get the hell up on out of here. I heard gunfire. You know what I mean? But when I go back, yeah, there's a lot of things that seem very off. A lot of things, y'all. So let me go ahead and share my screen so that we can get started. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Okay, thank you.
I know I'm on vacation, but Cole Allen has dropped his manifesto, or his manifesto has been found. And baby, it reads like this. He apologizes to everybody and their mama. Basically, it was planned, but it was never meant to harm anyone. He never meant to target guests. Hotel employees were not a target. Capitol Police were not a target. He said, in order to minimize casualties, I will also be using back shot rather than slug. So that means he had everything planned out. But he made it very clear that he could not allow a pedophile or a rapist, a traitor, and those who are complicit with this man that runs the fucking administration to live alone. Now, what I'm going to say about this situation is at least he knew he wasn't. I was in the bathroom with some bitches that weren't really happy about what I was reporting. Now, what I can say about Cole Allen is he was prepared. He was prepared to go down. He was prepared to be arrested. He also apologized to his family and his students and people around him, even the people on the plane. What I'm going to say is Cole Allen is millions of people in this country. He represents a lot of people that feel like the man in office is not qualified and does not deserve his position. He uses this position to overpower people that have gone against him for the right reasons. He uses this position to line his pockets. He uses this position to be racist towards people who don't look like him, like Black people and minorities and immigrants. The man that is in office right now ran on fraudulent claims, on top of claims of just saying he liked dumb people and like people who weren't educated. And let's be real, the people that voted for him were less educated. More educated people vote Democratic than they do Republican. Republicans have become a cult. For that reason and that reason alone, I feel like there's going to be more attacks. And yes, Cole Allen may have some issues internally. He did what everybody was thinking. At least a lot of people were thinking like, God, this fucking country would be a lot better if this man wasn't running it.
Well, breaking fuck the news, the New York Post has apparently released what they are saying is Cole Tomas Allen's manifesto. Hello, everybody. So I may have given a lot of people a surprise there. Let me start off by apologizing to everyone whose trust I abused. I apologize to my parents for saying I had an interview without specifying it was for the most wanted. I apologize to my colleagues and students for saying I had a personal emergency. By the time anyone read this, I would probably most certainly do need to go to the ER, but can hardly call that not a self-inflicted status. I apologize to all the people I travel next to, all the workers who handle my luggage, and all other non-targeted people at the hotel who I put in danger simply by being near. I apologize to everyone who was abused and or murdered before this, to all those who suffered before I was able to attempt this, to all who may still suffer after, regardless of my success or failure. I do not expect forgiveness, but if I could have seen any other way to get this close, I would have taken it. Again, my sincere apologies. On to why I did this. I am a citizen of the United States of America. What my representatives do reflects on me, and I'm no longer willing to permit a to coat my hands with crimes. Well, to be completely honest, I was no longer willing a long time ago, but this is the first real opportunity I've had to do something about it. While I'm discussing this, I'll also go over my expected rules of engagement, probably in terrible format, but I'm not military, so too bad. Administration officials, not including Mr. Patel, they are targets prioritized from highest ranking to lowest. Secret Service, they are targets only if necessary and to be incapacitated non-lethally if possible, aka I hope they're wearing body armor because center mass with shotgun messes up people who aren't. Hotel security, not targets if at all possible, aka unless they shoot at me. Capitol Police, same as the hotel security. National Guard, same as hotel security. Hotel employees, not targets at all. Guests, not targets at all. In order to minimize casualties, I also will be using buckshot rather than slugs. I would still go through most of everyone here to get to the targets if it were absolutely necessary, on the basis that most people chose to attend the speech by a and are thus complicit. But I really hope it doesn't come to that. I'll keep you updated with more.
Trump lost it with Norah O'Donnell on 60 Minutes tonight when she was asking him about the manifesto written by Thomas Cole Allen. What? Yes, Donald Trump lost his cool. I'll tell you about that in a second. Also, going into this too, Donald Trump goes, I was totally exonerated. What? From the Epstein files, Donald. Right. How many of you all think Donald Trump has been exonerated from the Epstein files? Right, me too. Right. She reads part of it, talking first how the members of the administration were targets. And then she goes into where he says, I am no longer willing to permit a pedo, rapist, and a traitor to put my hands with his crimes. Nor does it say, or nor does at least Nor O'Donnell say anything that this was specifically referring to Trump. His name wasn't mentioned in anything that she read. And asked Donald Trump what was his reaction to that. Where you can see Donald Trump's already not happy. He goes, well, I was ready for you to read that. I knew you would, because I knew you are horrible people. Horrible people. He did write that. Rape anybody. I'm not a pedophile. Nora O'Donnell says, do you think he was referring to you, sir? She never once mentioned it was directly to Donald Trump. Donald Trump immediately got defensive for some reason. Why do you all think Donald Trump had gotten defensive on that? I don't know. Whose name appears the most in the Epstein files of any name? Donald Trump. He goes, Mr. President, those were his words. And just Trump wasn't having it at all. Trump wants to attack her, everybody else. It's everybody else's fault that his name is all over the Epstein files. There you kind of have it. Typical Trump. Now, Donald, here's the whole thing. If y'all would release all those Epstein files and they would be unredacted except for the victims, if you have nothing to worry about, then there's not going to be anything for you to worry about, is it? That's the kind of problem, Donald, when you kind of cover it up and you don't let the files out and the public doesn't see what you promised you would do. Remember when Pam Bondi, she had the list of everybody's names on her desk? Well, that's a problem, and it'll be a problem until they're released. Here's the thing for all of my MAGAs, I don't care what Democrat, what independent, what Republican, whatever a party affiliation, no party affiliation people have, if they're in the files, they've done things that they need to be investigated for. No matter who they are, they should be investigated. But you all don't see it that way. Love to hear from my Democrats, my MAGAs, my cuckoos, my crazies, and the burned out light bulbs. Interesting. Some of us have ethics and morals, and some of us, well, that's all I'm going to say.
Can you imagine that page 4 is dedicated to the lack of security at the Hilton and how he was actually surprised and how he wishes and hopes that this is something that gets corrected before the next administration takes power? You would say I was lying. Here it is. He talks about how there was no damn security, not in transport, not in the hotel, not in the event. And then he goes on to say that this level of incompetence is insane. And I very sincerely hope it's corrected by the time this country gets actually competent leadership again. And this next part is priceless. If I was an Iranian agent instead of an American citizen, I could have brought a damn Madus in here and no one would have noticed shit. Actually insane. It is insane that your manifesto lines up with the coordinated talking points of the president needing a ballroom. That's batshit crazy.
Cole Tomas Allen's Manifesto. I don't even really know where to start with this, because what's being blasted all over the internet right now, it's not just something to read and react to. That's evidence. It goes directly to intent, premeditation, target selection, everything the prosecution would want a jury to see. And yet here we are, less than 24 hours later, and it's already shaping public opinion before Allen's even been arraigned, before a grand jury even touches this case. Really, do federal prosecutors learn from experience? Isn't there another federal case pending right now that this kind of stuff kind of shot him in the ass with? Or am I the only one thinking about that? Because once this narrative is out there, you don't unring that bell. It's where the jury contamination comes in. Prejudicial pretrial publicity and constitutional issues that don't show up today, but absolutely will show up in the case. So yeah, I don't even know where to start with this. Where is the rule of law? Where is the Constitution? I do know this case is not just about what this alleged manifesto says. This is about what happens when the story gets written before trial even begins. Follow along and we'll see where it goes.
Well, y'all, as they were reading it, another reason why it seems very strange is y'all know the way they like to shoot at melanated men in this country. And the fact that he literally ran at full speed past security and nobody fired on him. I just thought that was strange. Now, they don't need a reason to shoot our people. They've been doing it for centuries. Just on sight, you don't have to do nothing but walk home from the store and they'll find a reason to bother you. And then next thing you know, they're pumping a bullet in you. That's how it is in this country. So they let him live. So that's another red flag right there, because they didn't sure react like they normally do. So, y'all, next I have the 60-minute interview that Donald Trump did with Norah O'Donnell. And oh, he gets mad. She goes over the manifesto to Donald Trump and told him the kind of things that Cole Allen said. Yeah, you got to see Donald Trump goes into meltdown mode. You know how he is. Oh, it's the media. Oh, fake news and this and that. And, and another thing that was weird, how he brought up that damn ballroom. Oh, it would have been secure with the ball. That there's no telling what could or could not happen in that ballroom. He just think he can promote that ballroom everywhere he goes. It's absolutely ridiculous. So, y'all, he's one of many people that left a manifesto, and we've seen these before. But one thing his is not that's different from all the rest. Usually, all the rest of them chatter about how much they hate black people. I hate black people, But this one is probably the first one I've heard where he did not point out the fact that he did not like black people. His hatred was towards Donald Trump. But all the others, they got to always emphasize how much they hate us. So, well, I guess it is what it is. We'll find out more about Cole Tomas Allen over the coming weeks, I'm sure. It's another distraction from the Epstein files. You know how it is. So, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and conclude. My next live is at 1:45, and we'll be going over the 60-minute interview Donald Trump did with Norah O'Donnell. And don't forget to pick up your hair products and use the discount code thank you 10 as one word to get 10% off. Shalom, family.